that many traditional dishes depending on imported food as well. And that left me to the question, where does food actually come from? My name is Rose Barros and I grow ecosystems. The spark for this project. It says here the spark is Princess Amalia School, but actually we go back a little bit further, where I wanted to know where food grew from, and I invited Roland van Reenen from Aruba to give a workshop, Bamplanta Awa. This is the first food forest that we planted together with the community at Brechtje Huiskunst Garden. Brechtje is one of the teachers here. In this workshop, Marijn Roa was one of the participants. And Marijn had a vision, a dream. She wanted this food forest at her school. So she went to Rolien, the principal of her school, and I don't think it took her a lot of convincing, did it? No, right? She got the principal on board, and the ripple effect started. Passion and community, and it took off. Then there was, before we planted the garden at Princess Amalia, there was another workshop. This time Shamila, which I don't see here, but she said she was sick, showed up. And Shamila was working for the government. And on Saturday she said, Rose Barros needs to see this. Back then our Minister of Nature. She called him on Saturday and he was there on Sunday. And he saw potential. It was not long after that he called me. Rose, I see you done one at Princess Amalia. Can you do 10 more? Alright, Pippi Longstocking. I've never done it before, but let's go. I think I can. What do you need? Well, tools, machinery, money, lots of stuff. So this is where the collaboration started. Santa Rosa, schools, volunteers, everything came together. And now we're stuck. Nope, we still go. Now why food forests? Food forests work with nature. They are nature, where nature is our guide. A food forest mimics natural ecosystems. If you see the picture there on the right side, a natural cycle of nature that takes about 400 years goes from bare soil and always wants to provide. So it will always go to a state of abundance. If we follow those principles, we can speed up the process immensely. It's not just what's growing above the ground, but also what's growing under the ground. They're both equally important. So using the principles of syntropic agroforestry enhances biodiversity, it creates better environments, and we don't use any chemicals, no fertilizers, no pesticides. And if we do all that, that leads to food security, ecosystem restoration, and community learning. Behind the scenes and how this all worked. Lots of meetings, not just with Ludwig Hasmijn from Santa Rosa, but also the Department of Nature, the schools, everybody involved. Designing 10 food forests, finding resources, came with challenges. We had amazing help of René and Jeremino, I cannot pronounce his name, delivering mushroom compost. The Day Away Green Depot helped with offering accessibility to their depot, to their green depot, which meant it was me hands-on taking all the wood out that needs to be collected in order to put under the soil to get mycelium growth going. And the first forests were all dig out by hand, because the complete team wasn't really involved yet or aware what was needed. But after Ludwig saw how we were struggling with our hand picks, going through all the soils, he said, wait a minute, we have some machines in Santa Rosa, let's use that. Great idea. So then the machines came in. But also for me it was very important that there was a part of ownership within the community from the start on. So I asked on social media, mouth to mouth, everywhere, for people to bring their organic waste. They were cleaning their garden and didn't want to have those leaves. They could bring bags to my house. Well, you can see what lead that up to. This was me after a weekend away coming home. My husband not too happy. But also we got a lot of seeds, a lot of trees donated, so that was super nice. And next I'm going to show you a little video that shows a little bit more behind the scene, and the video will transfer into what is happening today, or what happened afterwards, once the gardens were established. Alright, this is the tricky part. Does it work? Looks like it. Yeah. Right, so there's no sound because I had to speed it up because otherwise the presentation was going to be a little too long. But you see, even though we had machinery on the beginning, it was still a lot of hands-on working. The first hours of the day was really putting everything into the soil. So again, it's not just about what you grow above the soil, but also very important what you put below the soil. Because those become the nutritions for the plants that they need. Rakim helping. Interesting, this banana that you just saw, we planted upside down. So we chop off the green, we plant it upside down so it grows better in the wind. Lots and lots of seeds. So even though we planted the trees from little ones, which actually is even better if you do it from seeds, but we want some visual afterwards, so we used the trees already, and then we added a lot of seeds. And this is after a couple of months only.
So you don't have to worry about growing food. You have to worry about taking care of nature. Because if you take care of nature, it will make you good.
Yeah, so I stayed on as one of the, we call it experts. I don't like the word expert. But both Rakim and myself stayed on at the schools to guide the teams. But again, we took on the job, as I can say. We started this project saying we don't want to do per se the physical labor, not that we don't want to, but it was important for us that we train the people that were there so the project would become more sustainable and people could actually start doing it themselves. Now that was really in a nutshell, right? Flew by. But now the question, what worked and what still needs work? Even though every school started with the same tools, the same amount of people, more or less, the same enthusiasm everywhere, there were differences. Kudawecha, Hilario Angela were thriving because they had slightly better soil to begin with and no issues giving water. So those schools took off. Then we also had struggling schools, the IPA, Washington, no ownership. There was no people there taking care. Surprise successes, Paulus School, very dedicated principal, didn't want to let go. Volunteers or not, he would make it happen. Piers de Tiende, she calls herself teacher, I call her powerhouse. She got everybody together. All the volunteers from the street, the water sprinklers don't work, I don't know why. At first it was no pressure from wet, then the faucet broke, then the sprinkler broke. But they make it happen twice a day, 7 days a week, there's somebody there watering. Again, I have 3 videos that I want to show you. The first one is Piers de Tiende. Again, this one is without sound because I had to speed it up. One of the things that made it very successful, besides the powerhouse teacher Juffrouw Nella, they got Aruba Doet involved. And during Aruba Doet, they built a greenhouse and they built a shed You see, Nella is like the queen of recycling. She's receiving every pot, every cardboard, everything to sprout seeds, especially veggies who have a faster cycle in nature. They have to be replaced. So one of the tasks there is always for the children to sprout a seed. Once it's sprouted, we add them to the garden, then we harvest. This garden is interesting. It's built right on top of caliche. So a lot of people say, oh, caliche it doesn't grow or nothing grows. And the garden is now just 1 year, right, Nala?
The 8th of June.
The 8th of June, it's 1 year, yeah. So a year and a month. No, not a year. Students helping in any way they can. Here we put in wood logs again, also to give an edge to the forest, but also to have more mycelium growth, which becomes the internet network, which is super important for plants to communicate with each other. And they don't just talk like we do on our internet, but they actually can provide nutrition through the internet network. I can talk a long time about syntropic agroforestry, but this was more about the project, as is, right? Then, which one we have? Washington. This video was taken last week, Monday morning. I've been there for a year long, every Monday. I wonder what you hear. Well, lots of birds, right? It's super peaceful and quiet to start my Monday like that. But I was hoping to get more children, more volunteers, more teachers involved. You see, this garden is a little bit struggling. The gardens need love. Without love, they struggle. The gardens are mirrors. This is one at Kudowecha. This video, while I did it, made me really happy. They didn't need me. They didn't really need me there to say what to do. The kids just took off. The teacher is there now involved. It took a little bit for Kudowecha to find their ways on how to do it. But they have a teacher. Look at the big surprise. Nice. It's a huge white sweet potato. Here she was looking for more. We harvested at day 8, I think, or 9 in total. Yeah, so this is definitely a garden that's thriving, is working. Well, they all are in their own way. So yes, even though we use the same tools, the outcomes are different. Oh, are we starting over? No. There we go. Then the big question I get at least once a week. So what do you actually harvest? Well, even though the forests are young, and they're all within just about a year, besides Princess Amalia, that just marked the 3-year anniversary, we've been harvesting a lot already. But for me, it's not just about the food. It's also about growing biomassa, becoming independent, not having to depend on coming biomassa from outside. Biomassa being organic materials. You never want to have bare soil, especially on Aruba. If you have bare soil, the sun will heat everything up. The first 30 centimeters of your soil will die off. There will not be any life in there, and the life is so important for the plants to thrive. Soil life, by keeping it cool, by having this mulch and the biomassa that you cut down and put on top, soil life can happen. We see on the smaller pictures mushrooms growing, a sign that the mycelium is being active. But not just soil life, also animal life above. We see bees flying around. We had a school with corn growing that was investigated with a pest, and before I knew it, I counted, I think, at least 35 ladybirds in one day. And people say ladybirds don't live on Aruba. Well, I guess you don't grow the food for them, because once you do, they're there. What else do we grow? We grow smiles, lots of smiles, happy kids. Connection, not just connection with nature, but also connection within the community. I have volunteers coming, a mother together with her mother, early stages of dementia, but they connect in the garden. This grandmother loves watering the plants. So it's connection in all types of levels. And at the end of the day, we grow ambassadors of nature. People that understand. So now the big question, and that's what I was asked for to come and do. What do we need? I see my slides here are a little behind. What's needed to grow? Well, very practical. More wood chips, more manure, more diverse mulch. Because even though we grow our own, we could always use more. Some gardens we see we have a lack of iron. This iron reflects in the leaves. If I only use those leaves as mulch, then there's not more iron coming back. It cannot give its nutrition back. So I plant spinach next to it that provides a lot of iron, but I can also speed it up by adding mulch from healthy gardens that does have all the nutrients in the leaves. Tools for maintenance are shifting. All the schools receive 20 pruning scissors, but now we need saws, we need bigger pruning materials. Mulchers. This could be centralized, a big mulcher on the island where we can all bring our garden waste and be mulched, but it can also be a smaller location that each school their own mulcher. Learn and share from or with each other. I think it's important we create opportunities for the teachers to visit each other, or a portal where they can connect with each other. I think my phone holds about 50 WhatsApp groups where they share pictures, where they ask their questions. Some are more active than others, but it would be great if that could be centralized and everybody can tap in and enjoy from that and learn from that. Expertise, follow-up and check-ins. Yes, not as depending as it was, but I think, oh, now I see what happens. If I click this, that one goes, right? Oh. Where were we? Here were we. Not as depending as we were here, the last one. Expertise and follow-up. It may be from a distance or monthly, just a quick check-in and give advice on where they should go next. Also important, focus on the curriculum. Developing maybe a handbook on maintenance, but also infusion into the curriculum. And you can think a weekly visit and we can do lessons about biology, but you can also connect your mathematics to it. Now I don't know how to say this in English, but oppervlakte and omtrek lessons, I mean they're easy to do and they're difficult for the children to understand from a book, but take them to the garden and tell them, okay, how long is this garden? Can you take some steps for me? Or bring measurements, how do you call that, tape or those? Yeah. And let them calculate how long it is. That's for the younger grades. The older grades, okay, I want to put in a gate around it. How many poles? If I want to put a pole every 50 centimeters. The pole is, what's the price of a pole? 17,450, I don't know. And we need 10, so calculate that. So it should be more than just nature lessons. There's so much more that you can do with these gardens. But also food literacy, nutrient-dense food. What does that actually mean? How do you grow that? Where does that come from? And food preparation. I noticed a lot of food waste the last year. One of the things we grow abundantly are jack beans, but people don't recognize them. They grow super well in our climate. They grow super well, they're drought resistant. But because people don't know what it is, they throw it out. But they're super nutritional. Nutritional? Did I say that? But above all, what we need in order to get this is clear ownership. Nothing will happen if there's not a coordinator per garden. This could be a teacher, but it could also be a parent, a neighbor, a community member. A maintenance or support team to help that coordinator, to help those children, to help those students. And also community involvement. Somebody that knows a lot about compost making, educate the people in the schools on how to do that. Plant and seed swaps. We can do this monthly. You don't have to be there all the time, but if we need more seeds, we can grow our own. Recycle station. Teach the students that they can give back the food that they eat, the skillet, the parts that they don't eat, and it can go back in the compost system. But that means we need a community united for a future where our children and nature can thrive, or will thrive. A government that can help with the global infrastructure. Maybe free up some tax money to support local entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs that want to share their knowledge about composting, writing a book on plant species that do well in our climate today, but also our climate tomorrow. The more food forest, the more it's going to change. Involvement of parents, neighbors, local groups, businesses. And yes, this could be paid just by gaining knowledge. That could be enough. Or maybe the moment of satisfaction you get while doing something purposeful. Or it could be a paid job. It doesn't always have to be voluntarily. So yeah, basically this was my evaluation. I tried to keep it short. I'm seeing I'm at 23 minutes. Almost there. And luckily for me, I was not alone. I had Rakim Samuel on my side. Rakim unfortunately couldn't be here today, but he did leave us a message.
Hey guys, Rakim here. I'm sorry I couldn't make it this evening. I couldn't make it because I'm traveling. So I'm going to try to share my experience, analysis, and what I hope to see in a really short video. The main reason why I joined this project with the Guardians in Tropical Forestry was I really wish to see Aruba that's more sustainable, or that our food is secure and stuff like that, and to bring about such a change, it really begins at our children because they are the future. So that's why I really wanted to, do for my part within this movement. And I was glad to see the interest around it, especially around the teachers, but also the children. The only thing I wish to see more is more of a community involvement, so having more volunteers and stuff like that at the school. But other than that, it's a really great thing that just happened on the island. I wish to see more schools having more gardens, and that we as a community to also give from our part to make it happen. So that's my part on it, and I hope to see you guys soon.
Yes, coming to the end of the presentation, I do want to take this moment to thank Rose Barros again. I've thanked him a couple of times already, but I think he saw the vision even before I did. So I want to thank him for supporting me in that. I want to thank Natalie, Maduro, for providing all your help with Soil Aruba. But above all, Above all, I want to thank my daughter. No. I guess this is nerves coming out. My daughter is not just my daughter, it's our daughter. And this is why I do it. Not for me, not for her, for the next 7 generations after us.